and I look forward to joining us, and I think that'll be very interesting. Okay. The other thing we're going to be talking about, what is a credit score? And what we have to, are people familiar with that term?
Yes.
Okay. And you know that if you have a high credit score, is that good or bad?
Good.
It's good. And conversely, this is an easy one. If you have a low credit score, is that good or bad? Yeah, not so good. So one of the things we're going to be talking about is how you build up a good credit score. I mean, there are things that you can do to make sure that you have a good credit score. And so there, for example, is if you, and Tony, you've been dealing with this in your business, if you have a good credit score, how is it going to benefit you?
Is that rhetorical? You want me to answer?
What?
Is that rhetorical? You want me to answer?
No, I'll let you answer, please.
Okay. Well, the better your credit score, the more options that you have, the more money that you save. You get the benefit of lower interest rates. You also get the benefit of being able to have your pick of whatever options that you want, whether it be for automobile sales or any consumer products that you might want. Another reason why the credit score is important, the job market is very competitive, and people who have, depending on the type of job that you're trying to get, your credit score can be a contributing factor to you getting hired. So there's a lot of benefits to
So
it.
in your experience, do people really understand credit scores and how they work?
Nobody does. What's interesting about it is a lot of people, the average credit score is about 649, somewhere around there. And most people don't even have a clue how that even works. They use a credit card, not understanding that a credit card is a loan. It's not your money. And that's a revolving expense that people don't really understand. So it's a lot that people really could be educated with.
So just when you're advising people, what just general, what kind of things you would advise them in particular to do to get their credit score?
First thing out of my mouth is get a secured credit card. Most people who don't have any credit at all, if you have no credit history whatsoever, just getting a secured credit card and to be clear,
Secured credit card.
a secured credit card is basically you are using your money to purchase a credit card and you're using the company's name, but the money that's in the account is actually yours. Depending on the amount of money that you put into that secure credit card account, that's the money that you'll be using for your credit. And it's great that you can use that because regular everyday expenses that you'll be using, whether it be your cell phone, your light bill, gas bill, or whatever, you can use that card to cover your monthly expenses. And then once every 30 days, just pay that total balance out, and then you can build your credit up that way. And it's almost instantaneous. After the first few payments, you get like a couple of 100 points right off the bat.
So just for example, then, if you decide that you want to rent an apartment, what difference, how does it make a difference as what credit score are you going to get?
Well, they want to make sure that you are, a good steward of your money. So if you have a good credit score, that lets them believe, or Vantage score or FICO score, those are the two options. But that helps, realtors or landlords believe that you are someone that's, that's a good steward of your money, someone that's going to be, trustworthy in maintaining the property, someone that's going to be able to pay their bills on time.
Somebody who's responsible.
Someone who's responsible, yes.
Yeah. So when people listen to you when you tell them this stuff?
Most of the time, especially when, most of the time, the people that come to my classes, they want to buy a house, they want to buy a car, they want to go to school, they want to, get out a collection, or they might have some other debts that they're having some challenges with, and they want to be able to make a change in their lives. Even though I don't do it as a profession, I actually assign those to other people, but the information, they usually want to jump on it pretty fast.
And by following what you suggest to them is that it works in terms of getting your price, if they follow your advice.
Well, the one thing about the advice, and if you allow me to say this,
So please.
you can give them the information on how to fix the credit, but my goal is to teach them better habits so they don't run into that problem again. So that's why the courses are so important.
So Tony is gonna be teaching this part of the class.
Actually, life insurance is my portion.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that as well, the importance of life insurance, but in terms of being in business, you understand for any kind of business, that it's important for you to have a good protection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, and because it's the same, so we know what interest is. Interest is that when you borrow some money, you pay to borrow that money.
Mhm.
The cost of using
The cost of using that money. You wanna teach the class?
it. I used to do that.
You what?
I used to have a mortgage finance
All
in
right.
real estate, so I did all the seminars, the credit, and that was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
But it's the same today.
yeah, and people would listen to you when you told them that you needed to do it, and they would be very grateful, they'd be very,
Grateful, yeah, because they could buy a house.
Yeah. and you know, one of the reasons that they were able to buy that house is that you gave them good advice and they listened to you.
Exactly.
That's
And they
pretty,
follow
that's pretty cool.
it.
Yeah, because, you know, not only are we talking about things that you have as a consumer, but in terms of, let me ask this, how did you get into that business? And you apparently had, this is something you could do pretty easily.
Well, I grew up in it. My father was the first black realtor in the multi-lets in Detroit, Michigan.
Nice.
I was sitting at open houses in 13,
Yeah,
because we had so many houses up to sell. So I just started in the savings and loan, closing loans, processing loans, all that, and selling real estate. So all the jobs I had was geared toward it.
and what talents did you have that made you good at doing that?
I'm telling you that I was anointed to do that job. The talents I had was probably just, I was tenacious.
Yeah.
I was tenacious, and I was in sales too, so I stepped up to the plate.
And,
And I had a good education, so I knew the basics, of math and the formulas, But other than that, it was basically relationships.
but I'll tell you one thing I know about you, you were very organized.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you had to be,
Yes, I-
because you were keeping track of a lot of different papers.
yes, oh, yeah,
Yeah, and you had to keep it all straight,
that's right.
and you were doing this as a young woman?
Yeah, much younger than I am
Maybe you're wrong.
now. Yeah.
So are you still in that business?
No, I'm retired.
Yeah.
I'm retired.
Did you consult for anybody?
Do I consult?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for people in the business deal, telling them
I
how to
have
do it.
friends that are in the business, but like I was telling Judy, when I was finished, when I retired in 2009, I threw away my Rolodex and I was finished with all that. I
It's awesome.
don't want to take it back anymore. So the Lord had something other for us, that's something else.
Did you gonna point something out?
You had Isa saying that she had a question.
I don't know.
See.
I don't know if it's a full question, I'm talking it out with you guys, but let's
No,
get it.
that's fine, perfect.
So, I meant to bring my children, but they're busy kids, and they may be late today, so I'll let them. But I will be
But
bringing,
they are welcome to come.
I want them to come. I have a son who's getting ready to go to college.
Great.
And, I had a friend who taught me this. This is what their parent did for them. Their parent purchased, a condo in the town, city where the child is going to school in their second year of college, sophomore year of college. And all the roommates they had that first year moved into the apartment and paid rent. And when they were done with college and graduated, the parents sold the property and used that as money for the kids to go on either to graduate school, or to purchase their first home and to prepare their children for life. And I'm interested in that. I'm interested in something like that. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely, it's a great question, because one of the things that we're gonna talk about in terms of making investments is to make investments in property, real property. Because right, I mean, you've seen this, because you have helped people buy property and they sit on it and don't do anything, and then 20 years later, they go to sell it, and they've got this terrific pot,
Right.
at the end. So we're gonna learn from each other in terms of doing that, and I presume that you could give some great advice about doing that.
Uh-huh.
I received some of our names.
But that,
Did you say I received very nice?
no, you could give her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every-
What happened to each group?
Yeah, no, but you've gone through the experience,
Yeah, sure.
and you're gonna know to get professional assistance from
Yes.
them. So what would you tell her? Just give her some advice right now.
I would say, I talked to someone that's in the business, you get professional advice.
Yeah.
Don't try to go it alone.
And
Do
and
your
how,
homework and study.
and how do they know who to go to that they can trust?
Well, you have to research it.
Okay, and how do you research?
Word of mouth is the best.
Okay.
Word of mouth, somebody that's dealt with somebody before themselves.
I'm wondering if it's a good thing to do in this economy. That person, over 40, so their parents did that many, many years ago, different economy, different time, and also not in the state of California. So I'm wondering, is it the same kind of, I mean, it's a good plan, but would
Being
it
a
work?
tax attorney, I bet you would have a comment on
Get
that.
into a time machine.
But
Go
that's
back
not-
20 years ago, and then buy everything you
Very
got.
true.
But
They
that's
can't
a little
see
bit
tuition.
practical. So, but what you do is it overall, is the property tends, real property tends to go up.
Yeah, it doesn't appreciate or depreciate.
Yeah, and there's gonna be ups and downs, but all investment, and that was what they're talking about, all investment involves risk.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what you wanna do is that when you're gonna go, I happen to, 50 years ago, 50 years ago,
53.
I bought a duplex that I bought for next to nothing.
Wow.
And was charging high rent. So it turned out, that was a couple of years ago, it turned out that the upstairs tenant passed away, and the downstairs tenant was moving. So I had the opportunity to take a bunch of money, and what I did is that I got a mortgage, got the money based on the building, and then spent a lot of money to get it fixed up. And I'm not too smart, but I'm pretty lucky. So my timing was great. So just as I was putting it on the market, the rental prices started to go up. And I'll tell you, Los Angeles' rental prices most likely to continue to go up, and especially,
But you still think they will.
what?
You think they will, even now?
That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But right now, what's one of the things that's forcing rental prices to go up?
The need for housing.
The need for housing.
Demand.
And that's the demand and supply. It's the demand. And one of the things, what's really pushing the demand?
Lack of supply.
Right?
Lack of supply.
Lack of supply. But what in particular, what incident?
They're fine.
The fire.
Oh, yeah.
You've got all these people that are out there that are looking for places to live.
No, it's true.
Yeah, and there's gonna be a shortage of housing. I mean, one of the things that this unnamed person, we know that part of the problems that caused the fire was climate change.
Yes.
And we have elected somebody as president who says that climate change is a hoax. So things aren't gonna get better. And so that's one of the things when you go and try to buy something now, it's difficult. When I bought this duplex, I really had to reach out, and I was nervous about spending that much money. It turns out that now that we fixed up, that's like our retirement. We got the money coming in. And, we got great tenants, which is one of the things you need to do, and one of the things you need to do is check their credit score to make sure that they're responsible. And in terms of dealing with the people, you want to make sure you have a good relationship with them. It's very important. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about. And, Pastor, we were talking about if there's anybody in the church here who is involved in real estate, who we could recommend, that we would invite them to come and talk to the people here.
He's running for people who know that better than I would. Also, Alan, if we would, I'd like for the people who came out, we would like to hear from them for a few minutes. Give you what, who they are, why they came out. Yeah.
So, and I would suggest that based upon the kind of things we were talking about, about what kind of things might interest you. If you could say, listen, that thing is kind of interesting to me, and talk about why you're here, and if you talk a little bit about, your faith in God as being one of the reasons that you're here, so.
My name is Gloria Davis.
Hi, Gloria.
Good afternoon.
I think most people here know you do.
No, but complimentary. This is my home church, hallelujah, praise God. And every day is my blessing, so God does come first in my life. And I'm here really not for myself in all honesty. I'm coming tonight because I wanted to find out what I can do to help my son, my nieces, my nephews, my daughters and children that are 50, 60 and under, you know what I mean? So I'm listening with all ears and appreciate everything that I've heard so far. And that's my plan. Hopefully next week we can have some of those people that are urged to show up to come in here, because this ear that I have at 940,000 years old is not the same ear I had when I was 40. And so I'm trying to encourage them to hear at 40 and 50 what you don't, because at this point I can work like an animal without, in the end, and I don't have that much time. So that's really kind of where I am.
Are your children local?
Yes, they are. Well, one is.
Okay.
One is in San Diego. We're not talking
The
about.
one that's here, he or she gonna be here next week?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying to you. You speak to them and all you can do is give information.
I know.
And I lift up a prayer and then let it go.
Well, if it would help, if you want me to talk to them, I'd be glad to do that.
Well, I appreciate it, but no, I wouldn't.
Okay, whatever.
I have some grandchildren that I also like to come see. They're 20-ish, and then, they don't hear either. So they're kind of, but they at least say, I did not hear it in 2025. So I'm gonna see if I can, that's my prayer.
And
Enough talk, Gloria, that's it.
and that's why we're here. We're here to help each other.
Yes,
That's why God put us here. And
that's it. That's my function daily.
And when we honor God, we take the blessings that we have and we spread them.
Daily.
Yeah.
All right, Pastor?
That's right.
And that's why, even though I'm Jewish and Pastor is Christian, is that we think exactly the same way.
We do.
I think we do.
There is relevance.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elder Brock. I'm from this church too. This is my wife.
You're a lucky man.
I am.
Yeah.
And what she said, I agree. Teaching our kids and grandkids, between us, we have 6 kids and 14, 15, 16 grandkids.
Wow.
So when we can learn something, I would love to pass it on to them. Those things that I didn't know when I was growing, a lot of stuff I didn't know. My parents, they didn't know. So what I learned, I can pass it on.
So, I love learning,
Yes,
you know?
Lifelong students.
And I'm Sherry Morgan, I'm also a member here. And I'm just gonna piggyback off of both of them. My grandson, he wasn't able to come tonight. One of them, he's, an accountant. He graduated, from Northridge, Cal State Northridge. And, he's very much interested in economics. And, I have a granddaughter also, she's in Vegas. And go Granny, that's this question. I said, I'm gonna forget that before I even get there. So, and then there's young people here also that wish they could come, but they wish it was on Zoom, so they can get more information. And so.
If we could set up.
I do it every week, so I can help you set that up anytime.
Yeah, so they can ask questions, if you're interested in it. So, I'm very much interested, the money and the insurance and things like that. So, very much interested.
So Tony, how did you get into the financial business?
Because I got, Lord forgive me, but I got my butt kicked financially. I got, when I left the military, when you're in the military, Pastor Bel-Vue will agree with me, I was spoiled rotten. I was air crew. I didn't spend my money on anything. All I did was leave it in the bank because pretty much everything was paid for me. And when I got out of the military, I was still used to that. So I really didn't use money. So I saved about 80% of my income. And 80, yes.
Ooh,
Yeah, so I didn't, until you find out that you didn't learn how to protect it. So what ended up happening was I became a day trader back in 2000, and I was a really good one. But the problem is, as good as I was at making the money, I wasn't good at protecting it. So when we had that first economic downturn in 2001, 50% of my money was gone. 2 businesses I had failed, and I was laid off of my job. So you can imagine, and this happened in the span of 2 months. So when I finally recovered from that, started building back up again, 2008 housing market crash. There's another 40% of that money gone. And again, all this money I'm making, but I never learned how to protect it. And
We're talking about here, that he knew how to create. And
Yes.
But he didn't know how to build.
didn't know how to build it. So as the years continued, I still, I'm Aries, so I got a hard head, arrogant Aries, hard head, you understand. Well, God has a way to make a hard head, make a soft butt, right? So I had to start figuring some stuff out, and then my credit score was like 784 or something like that, somewhere around 800. And I was able to do whatever I wanted until I lost everything. And then, of course, during that time, everybody needed money. People were leaving and no one had protection. So I'm paying for funerals and all this other stuff going on. And then sooner or later, the one thing about money, when you have it and other people don't, you become the bank for them. And because I didn't replenish everything that was lost or no one else was replenishing it, when I was no longer as marketable, meaning I wasn't able to make the money as fast, then I started realizing how much money I was actually consuming with all the travels and everything else. So sooner or later, I ended up being upside down, and that just destroyed my credit, destroyed my financial situation, and I ended up couch surfing and everything. It was terrible. Yeah. So once I finally figured out, get your head out of your backside, I said, I need to figure out how to fix this stuff. So once I started with credit, and then one of the things about being in credit, when you actually teach people how to get their credit right, now that they're saving this money, what do you do with it? And that's where I graduated into life insurance. Yeah. So if I may, one of the comments that was made is a lot of times people don't even know what to talk about in finance, right? So with your permission, Pastor, I'd like to have you. So one of the things I do is I give these sheets. I don't know what it is, but it gives you an idea of some of the topics that you might want to cover in the classes. And when you take a look at some of this, the self-assessment forms, the budget sheet, I got another one. When you look at that, the goal is these classes are great, but we need to have more of these. We need to have more of these discussions at home. So when you take these to your grandchildren, or you take these to your children or other family members, when you look at that and you see some of the things that you should be discussing, it'll help you out a lot. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I use that as kind of a visual aid for you to have an idea of some of the topics. And when you look at it, hey, I heard about that. I want to learn more about that. But if you don't know what's available to be taught, you don't know to ask the questions. So hopefully that'll help.
It helps tremendously. And so let me say this. So when I heard you were coming, I thought it's great. You really got a very important piece to this. I appreciate it. Do you think you'll learn much from this class, or as much as you'll be able to pass on?
I've already learned a ton. One of the things about the way that you're delivering this message, number one is what you have on the board right there. So I'm a veteran. So I'm kind of on the nose with the way that I do things, but sometimes people cannot keep up with my cadence because I'm a little hyper. This is actually me being zen right now, but when I'm up there, I'm pretty animated, and some audiences can't handle that, so when you're asking questions, how to create and how to create and build wealth, like I said, I got that in spades. I can make some money, right? But when it comes to how do you keep it, that's where I get in trouble. So life insurance for me is a big deal because one of the things a lot of people have been talking about lately is the infinite banking concept. Has anybody ever heard of that? Infinite banking concept. That is basically being your own bank. And right now, if you put your money in any kind of a financial institution that is not keeping up with inflation, you are losing money every single day, right? And right now, inflation has been averaging about 3.25% since 1913. It actually got as high as 9.4% during COVID. And I promise you, your money in your bank never did anything better than 2%. Even if you had a high yield bank account, it never did better than 5%. So your money is still losing. And what's terrifying a lot of people today, especially with the tariffs that you mentioned, is because a lot of people's retirement funding, they had a retirement number that they thought was going to be able to sustain them. But the deal is the health management system a lot of people are living longer, but the money, they're outliving their money. So then now you have the tariffs, now you have all this inflation, now you have them charging more for everything as a result of it. The new tax code is absolutely murderous.
Yes.
Because if you'll notice, if you look at the 2026 tax code, the highest hike happens to be right where all of us sit, right? So that additional 4%, and the thresholds are going to be lower. Now your retirement income is probably not going to make it. So if we don't make some kind of adjustments, to how we keep that money, that's where we get in trouble. So when I talk about the infinite banking concept, is to create a way to make sure that the money that you've created goes into a trust, and that trust can be constructed to make sure that your family legacy remains even after you expire. So your children will be able to access those funds without it being consumed all the way up. That's important. So the more we have these conversations, the better. So as I listen to you, what I'm learning is how to communicate with the people even better, even at a hyper state like I am. But also the questions that you're asking, how are the decisions made? I never even thought to ask that. So that's a very important point for me. So, like I said, I will be writing everything you say down, and I'm actually recording also.
So often in my life, I'll do something. I recently, over Martin Luther King weekend, our synagogue on Friday night, the congregation from Macedonia Baptist Church, right down the street, comes over, and we have a service with them on Friday, and on Sunday, we come down to the church and celebrate Dr. King. And I sit there and say, I can't believe how lucky I am. Really. And as I'm hearing what you guys say, I sit here and say, I can't believe how blessed I am to be in this situation with people like you and have this discussion. I mean, wow. Jerry.
Look what God can do.
Yeah.
Let's hear from ISIS.
My name's Isis, and which group people
You're talking about yourself.
Why am I here? I'm here, like I said, I'm in a transition space because I have a child who's ready to go to college, and I want to make sure that I teach him money principles, and I want to prepare him for life in a way. I'm trying to build generational wealth. I also am positioned in my family. I'm the go-to person. So that's me too. That's also draining. So I need to know how to build and keep wealth. I know how to create it also, but I need to know how to keep it. So I'm here to learn about that. I am interested in property ownership and land ownership for the purposes of taking it to my children. But also, like you're saying, I'm also interested in those wills and trusts and putting money aside for them for later. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Good. And we love that you're here. It's a gift to us. Thank you.
Oh, I'm here because my boss told me.
Good enough for me. Good enough for me.
I'm glad you came, right? Glad you came.
I'm glad to get the information and see it still being discussed, and that it can be beneficial even to me at this stage of my life,
Listen, I'll tell you, at this stage, and I used to be a young man,
Yeah.
it's hard to believe, but these things are much more important now
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
than they were. I mean, listen, I have a very close friend of mine who developed dementia and is a place and is in a facility now, and we had to work to get it all taken care of, so that he's now taken care of. If he didn't have me and my friend Bruce to help him out, I don't know what would happen.
I wish I'd known some of it so years ago.
Everybody.
But we know, like you said, we can create wealth, we can create the money, how do we keep it?
Yeah.
I used to go through a 401 K about 3 times in the mortgage business. You made money, it's up and down, you made lots of money. The problem is, you forgot that it doesn't last, it doesn't have to last, things change. So you keep going, you make it, and you think for some reason foolishly that it's gonna stay the same, you're gonna keep on making that money. But,
No,
the
ma'am.
world changes and things, circumstances change, so if you don't know how to build it and keep it, then you're gonna be right where you were.
You're in the perfect place. You're in the perfect place. In
Yeah.
this room with us, and everybody here has the same concerns that you.
Can I say, this is a very, it's scary to me, if I can be just quite honest. It's really scary to me as probably one of the first generations of my family to kind of take some kind of whatever you want to say, and thinking about how to maintain that. There's no history of knowing how to maintain that, so there's no blueprint for me to do that. And then also, I think I have greater responsibilities than maybe my parents had with, you know, like you said, you bought a duplex for a little bit of nothing now. And I can buy a little bit of nothing for a whole lot of something. It's a very different experience. And so you're like, how do I navigate that because of inflation, because of the time we're in, it's educational debt, all those things, you know, so it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary.
Listen, I'm scared. I'm scared. I see what's going on in America right now, and I'm scared. You know, I'm very blessed, I'm very lucky, my life is great, but I'm scared. So Jerry, what do you have?
Oh, I'm just always so amazed. You never stop learning. After all these many years, degrees, you can never get enough. You always learn something new. So I'm really here to share, but also to learn. Just life experiences. I actually did what your friend did. What I did was I purchased commercial property, not because I don't like tenants, residential tenants, but commercial property, because I said I have to invest some money, because I need to pay for my kids' education. And the deal was, my 3 kids, you go to college, it's on my tab.
This is my deal, that's what it is.
So I needed to find a good investment vehicle. So I said, real estate is the best investment vehicle.
Okay.
So I purchased 2 parcels on Vermont, near USC and the Coliseum.
Nice.
I paid $120,000 for it.
Wow.
And then when it was time, once they finished school, and it was time for that $2,000 a month repayment of the student loans, I sold it for $1.25.
See, that's what I'm
And
talking
I had it for like 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about.
yeah.
That's the kind of
exactly what I'm trying to say.
investment,
Yeah.
knowledge, and
Yes.
advice that we should be sharing amongst ourselves.
And
So
how did you figure out how to do that, and who helped you and guided you in terms of?
I have to only give God the glory because I don't really know. Other than just going to school and having a business knowledge. I have a finance degree, an accounting
My
degree.
situation, I was living in the duplex next door, and the house, the duplex next door to me went up for sale. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured, put a bid on it, and it went through probate, which means that you have to go to court. But nobody, what benefited me is the real estate agent selling it is doing a lousy job. And so he got very few bids, and so once again, I just locked into it.
And probate properties are the best. They really are, because mine was also probate.
Especially.
That's interesting.
If
Why?
you get, and the other thing is we have great tenants. We really take care of, my wife bends over backward to make sure that they're happy. But they're also, they've been there a while, so their rent is not that great, but they're gonna be there for a while. And that's real important. Because if they move out, even though they'll be rent, they're still gonna have to put some money in it to fix it up. The other thing is that, you know, it's gonna be empty for some period of time.
I did something a little different because I decided I don't want tenants anymore, so I invested in a REIT, real estate investment.
You
vehicle.
invested in what? Say?
A REIT, REIT, so every month,
Real estate investment.
investment transaction, so I get 2 checks, because I have 2 different, or actually 4 investments, but, I get a check every month and I don't have to do anything.
And so when you went into the REIT, there
Yes.
was somebody that gave you some advice. Or you just left it down?
Did you do,
I
that's the
read.
properties, those are the properties, the 2 properties you bought for a month, or that was separate for the 2?
I sold that, paid off the student loans, and then reinvested it so I could avoid the tax liability into REITs.
And when you have a REIT, that means that you are no longer managing the
Yes.
property. Somebody's managing it for you.
Do you pay the taxes on the payments that
Jerry
you
would
get?
otherwise have with tenants, he didn't have because somebody was getting paid to take care of it. So,
I'd be interested in learning more about that. I don't know about that.
But that's the kind of
Did we hear from
discussion we can have.
You heard from Sherry? Okay. Sound like,
Thank you so much, I appreciate this. This is
Um,
really helpful.
if you wanna hear from me now? Okay.
yeah. Let me say one thing, is that we're gonna make sure that this class starts on time at 6 o'clock, so please be here. And our promise to you is you'll be able to get out of here by 7:30. Okay? We're not gonna go over, so if you have kids that you gotta go.
I'm gonna be on time.
Yeah, you can,
Really?
you can come, I'm leaving at 7:30.
Yeah, are you married?
No.
Okay, I don't call married women, so may I have your contact,
I'm
may
here.
I have your contact
One,
information?
two, so,
Yes, sir.
we're here, I'm here to learn. Also, I realize how important it is to have knowledge about money. And if you have knowledge about money, you're able to make better decisions. And I feel also this is an opportunity to help enlighten the congregation, but also it's a great opportunity which I've reached out to the community. So we have people from the community as well as from the congregation. And I believe that doing this, that the individuals that attend will make better decisions.
Yeah.
I believe that also their financial, if they pay attention, their financial future will be better than it was before they took this course. And, and also gives me an opportunity for someone like you who enjoys it. It's a benefit to provide for you, and then also if you go, and Jerry too, gives others opportunity to be able to help not only make better financial decisions, we know that finances play a very important role on what quality of life individuals will have. So there's a lot of reasons why, I'm here and why this exists.
And I thank all of you for making this really a wonderful evening. I mean, I think we're all blessed to be here, but to be here and talk about this stuff, get these points, couldn't be better. So right now, we'll leave 4 minutes early. There's also some chips and stuff over here, and if anybody anytime wants to bring in some snacks for the group, whenever.
I'll bring some meat.
And I will see you then at 6 o'clock.
Let me see, how do I stop this thing here?
If you want to, who's gonna make sure that sign up sheet is?
Jen.